Here's why tying player power to covenants is good and bad, as well as a possible change that isn't just let us switch covenant abilities whenever we want. Now, before we get into it, I want to ask you a couple questions, literal and theoretical. 1. Do you care about following a meta? 2. What's more important to you, an aesthetic or doing 1% more damage? 3. Why did you want Classic WoW? If you did, of course. To relive it? To finally play it since you missed it? To go back and play the way you did before? Or go back and optimize everything about your experience? 4. Do you desire fun when you play games? Now that you know what you want, let's discuss why Covenant power is good and bad. Keep in mind, we don't have as much info on soulbinds yet compared to class abilities and covenant abilities, so they will not be talked about much. Player power given by covenants is good, since it allows players to make an important choice that actually benefits and possibly changes their gameplay. This is player agency. This is what Blizzard wants to give us. They want to give us choices so we play the game longer. When you, as a player, make your own choice, you become attached almost instantly to that choice you made and want to keep playing for a bit longer, or a lot longer, depends on the person. But either way, giving us choices that matter, that we get to choose, do keep us playing longer. The Horde War story in BFA is a good example of this done wrong, as well as the N'Zoth questline, where you can have a N'Zoth eye on you or not. The choices you made for those two questlines did not matter in the grand scheme of things. You weren't given cosmetics, no special achievement, no cool mount, and no cool new abilities. You got a special cutscene for interacting with Sylvanas, and that's it. That's pretty much all you got from your choices in there. It was a good concept, but not really as engaging as something like class covenant abilities. But this choice you're making to choose a covenant does matter for your character and to you. It's going to give you 2 new abilities, not counting soulbinds. Like we said, we don't have a lot of information. It's going to give you new cosmetics, new mounts probably, and maybe a cool achievement for getting all your soulbinds to maximum. But that's not really dependent on your choice of covenant yet. This choice you make will get you to play longer than you usually do, which Blizzard does want. They want you to play the game. They want to give you choices that matter and make you attached so you play the game longer. It's a feedback loop. But upon saying all of this, it almost too perfectly leads us to the bad side of player power being covenant based. When you're done with the tour of the 4 zones, and you've had a taste of all the Covenant abilities in the free trial edition, you will pretty much already know which one you want based on personal preference. But the personal preference may not be the aesthetic you like, so you're now conflicted on who to pick. And then you go online to check which one you should get for max efficiency, which is an entirely different Covenant than the 2 you were thinking about, and now you're left in an existential crisis. There is inevitably going to be a best covenant for X class. For example, if you're a rogue and the best covenant for your rogues was Night Fae, but you hate those nature-loving people and would instead ally with the Venthyr, those Twilight wannabes, who is just second to Night Fae, other people might hesitate to play with you since you are, quote, handicapping yourself. Now, this last point isn't so much what's bad about Covenant abilities and player power, but more of a general trend that has happened in the last few expansions that is bad. In Legion, we had legendaries and artifact weapons to enhance our player power. Those stayed behind in Legion and did not follow us into BFA. In BFA, we have the Heart of Azeroth and Azerite armor. That is not coming with us into Shadowlands. Moving into Shadowlands, we have Covenants and Soulbinds. And who knows what's after that. But for those of you with a higher than 10 IQ, you can probably see that after Shadowlands, we'll probably get something that is specific to the new expansion and covenants and soulbinds will wave goodbye. Now, from what I've seen, a lot of people have issues with this, tying our power to specific mechanics in a specific expansion, to be exact. Now, I'm not going to tell you to change that now, Blizzard, but just please sit on that thought. We don't like having to change the power we get each expansion. We don't like it. We don't like grinding the new specific power for that expansion. We like the grinding for the gear, not so much the Azerite and artifact power grinds. So this choice we're going to be making for new abilities is only going to be around for 2-ish years, which granted is a long time, but it will be leaving, and then the gap will have to be filled with other things, like how Blizzard had to fill the gap from us losing our artifact weapons. I feel like we've gotten slightly off topic. Sorry about that. Let's get back to covenants and brainstorm some ideas to make covenants better for us as players and make the choice we make more personalized and not meta-focused. I myself have 2 ideas. They are both not let us have all the covenant abilities at once. I want to make that clear. I don't think that idea is very good. So, here's one of my ideas. Make switching covenants cost something, but be very quick. From BlizzCon, Blizzard has told us that switching covenants is going to take a while. It's going to cost resources. It's going to take us time. There's going to be like a quest line or something to switch. We don't really know at the moment how long it's going to take, but my idea is just having the switching covenants be something like talent respecking back in the ye olde days. Maybe not gold, but a currency you can earn by doing almost anything in Shadowlands. I don't know what it'd be called, but here's some backstory for the currency. There exists an item that everyone in the Shadowlands desires, and if you bring enough to a certain person, they may allow you to join them. Them being the Covenant and whatnot. I would hope that's obvious from the context. As well as the people you turn this currency into can be placed near the PvP vendors, so then literally no one can complain about PvP vendors being hard to find because they will frequent the area the PvP vendors are in. It's a win-win. And this currency you'd get it from doing world quests, dailies, if you still use those. Something like Mechagon and Nazjatar, please. Dungeons, BGs, raids, etc. You want to make it so that this currency acts like the awakening essence that you could use to buy the legendaries in Legion, as well as the currency you made in 8.3 that allowed us to get the rank 3 essences on our ults. Something like that. But for this, make it so that the higher tier difficulty stuff, something like heroic raids, mythic dungeons, higher keystones, they reward more of the currency, and lower difficulty rewards reward less. Since, let's be honest, not everyone that plays in Casual City is going to be changing their covenant every single time they gotta go PvP after running a dungeon. Only the dedicated people would do something like that. So that is my first solution, and honestly my preferred one, since it really makes the choice matter, since there is A, player agency, B, you gotta play to change, which, as I said before, Blizzard wants you to play the game longer, and C, this seems like the big brain option here. Like, come on. They get the players to play. The players get what they want. The players like the game. It's a win-win-win. Come on. Here is my second idea, and honestly not very plausible because it's a lot of number crunching And also, this kind of makes the choice not matter. So, make all of the Covenant abilities that do damage or healing within 1% usefulness to each other. This might need some explaining, so here's my probably not very good explanation. Take Covenant ability A, that does, let's say, 100 damage, to keep it simple. And then Covenant ability B, that does 105 damage. Now, B is obviously numerically better, but it is not too much ahead of A, so it does not really matter except for the top 1%, and that is quite literally in this case. Now, where this starts getting wonky is with AoE Covenant abilities, or abilities that provide something that isn't damage or healing, like a movement ability, or something that does both. This is why I said this isn't very plausible, but I do believe it is possible in some shape or form. This solution is good because it lets the players choose for their favorite aesthetic or favorite lore place, but it takes away from the player power, which is the main purpose of Covenants. And that is all for this video. This is kind of different from what I normally upload, but I do play WoW, and I just felt like I had to offer something to the Covenant conversation that is going on in the WoW community. Hopefully, people like my idea and get it out there. I at least hope they like my ability, like sincerely hope. And they aren't just gonna be like, no, the Covenant abilities should be unlocked at all times. Because honestly, I find that dumb and goes against what Blizzard wants. And I feel like instead of getting like entirely what we want, there should be some form of middle ground, which I think my first idea offers a very good middle ground. Because some people just want us to have all Covenant abilities at all times. Some people want it to be like, let us pick and choose which ones we want at all times. But I want the choice to still be there, but if I need to switch or want to switch at any time, I should be able to switch quickly. Maybe not necessarily easy, depending on how much currency you would need to change, but you know, the choice should still matter, which is why I really didn't like idea number 2, but I had it. Anyway, thank you all for watching and listening. If you are looking forward to see more, or if you would like to see more from me, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to my channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. And I hope to see you all next time. Peace out.